Hello, welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We are raising money for Alzheimer-Fonden. Links to donate can be found below the stream. We would also like to thank Kaspersky, Twitch and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it's time for danflesh running Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So this is Sekiro. I'm a danflesh, obviously. We're gonna run some nice video games right after Bloodborne and DS1. Gonna close the From Software block. Well, not fully. There is gonna be Dark Souls 3 run later on. So yeah, all bosses, mini bosses category. I guess we can begin. 3, 2, 1. Time. Somewhere here. Like actual time starts, like we use IGT for the runs, and actual timer starts for the speedrun when the first bit of gameplay starts, but it's not a big deal for the marathon. So this is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the last game, well, not the last game made by From Software, but one of the latest. This game is slightly different from what you have seen from Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, and I have to mention that we're in tutorial and less RNG, so we don't get shots just at the very beginning, because this section is slightly RNG. We can't sprint, so we just smash jump to move faster. In this area you have to sneak past the enemies to one of the main characters, who is Kuro. And Kuro gives us the sword, and now we are actually capable of fighting. So this is all bosses, mini bosses. This is quite an intense category. It's the most recent category of the game that appeared this spring, and it includes almost up to 50 boss fights, including mini bosses. And the first fight is actually in tutorial. First mini boss is this guy. Let's hope I don't die at the very beginning of the run. So this guy is pretty simple, he has very little of health. So as you can see, one of the things I have to mention about combat system of Sekiro is that it's based on like posture bars. So when you perform attack, or when enemies attack you, or when you deflect enemies, or when you block enemies' attacks, it deals damage to your posture. And that posture is important, because that's how we're gonna kill many of the bosses in this game. So yeah, that was the tutorial boss. It was pretty easy, as you could see. But we actually had no chance to die there, in a way that it would be pretty unfortunate to die, because you can't resurrect. Like in tutorial, you cannot resurrect. So now Genichiro cut our hands, and now we can grapple. We received the Shinobi prosthetic hand. And later on we will be able to apply certain tools called Shinobi prosthetics to our hands and use for our benefits. We're actually going to use 4 of them in this particular run. That's the most out of all categories, I guess, outside maybe of all prosthetics run. But I'm not sure that you use any prosthetics in all prosthetics run. But yeah, now we are in Ashen Outskirts, and we're gonna face some bosses soon. We pick up the Shuriken Wheel. That's actually the first prosthetic that we obtain. Or it's not the finished prosthetic, but we're gonna acquire it a bit later as the prosthetic tool. So this guy is very similar to the one that we fought in tutorial. Has pretty much the same moveset. And as you could see, enemies in this game, they do have phases often, bosses. And most of the mini bosses can be death blows, right? So this game actually utilizes stealth mechanics, so you can sneak past the enemies and perform a stealth blow that removes 1 health bar from the boss. It's not possible to do it with all the bosses, and sometimes it's not worth to do it at all. But for most mini bosses we're gonna use it. for our benefit. Like for example there, we're using the sugar that allows us to be barely visible and silent, and we can come behind the ogre and actually death blow him while he's still captured in this wooden thingy. Ogre is pretty comfortable boss to fight. Yep. Make sure that you death blow him from behind, because with Ogre, like with any boss, you have different death blow animations, depends on when you death blow the boss. Sometimes you death blow boss after deflecting, or sometimes from behind, or from the front, and it's a different animations. And particularly, speaking of Ogre, when you perform death blow from behind, it makes him die faster, so you can advance further in the area faster. So I skipped one of the mini bosses right there in Ashen Outskirts. We're gonna come back to kill that guy later on, when we are stronger than we are right now, because he has a lot of enemies around him. It's possible to kill him there, but routing wise it's not very benefiting to do it now. A bit of parkour skips, so that was a small movement optimization that is actually not as easy maybe as I made it look like, and this skip saves like maybe 5-6 seconds. And yeah, I'm gonna use keyboard for most of the skips. I'm just used to do it this way in this game. And sort of intense gameplay continues. Pretty much first 10 minutes of the run are quite intense. Oops. Picked up another sugar. So generally sugars are our buffs. We're gonna use them a lot. Almost for every mini boss we're gonna use at least one sugar. But we're not gonna use any sugars for this boss. Hopefully I don't mess it up. So this is Gyobu Masataka Oniwa, as you can read the subtitle. And what we do, we parkour on top of the roof, get the bad RNG, boss stuck, usually, well not usually, usually most of the times he does not stuck. Shinobi execution, clearly. So yeah, that was a trick. That is a called Gyobu skip. So what we do there, we parkour out of the arena, right? And this game has invisible walls for the enemies. And for some reason in that particular arena, when you leave out the arena place, invisible walls for the bosses disappear. So boss can actually run away from the cliff and fall into kill box and just die. So that's very convenient. Next boss to fight is Bull. Pretty difficult boss when you first meet him on a playthrough. Ooh, that's a good RNG. Yep, flawless fights. Let's go, dudes. So Rip Bull. I've used another sugar here, Akko sugar. So Akko sugar is the damage buff. The biggest advantage of damage sugar buffs in this game is that they increase the damage you deal, not only like to health, but mostly to posture of the enemies. And since most of the fights are posture based, by the way, I killed the enemy here to obtain the key. That's the key from the closed door, as you can imagine. Key opens the doors. We go there, open the door, and behind this door there is a prosthetic tool, another one. We've already got the shuriken. This one is the spear. Spear doesn't save too much time, but it makes many things much more consistent. And in the end it still saves a little bit of time. So we're just gonna take it. So sugars increase your damage to the bosses. Boss's posture, what is more important. So that's cool. Ooh. Okay, this is one of the tricks that we're also gonna utilize with couple bosses, mini bosses. As you can see, Boss has stuck in the corner, which is very unfortunate for the boss. This is called the dangling. So in this game, bosses decide to block your attack, depends on how you face them. And if the angle is sort of wider to the sides than they can block, they just not gonna do anything. And if you can make boss stuck somewhere like that and just keep spamming attack safely, it's very good for you, because boss just not gonna do anything, which is very nice. I'm actually glad that, like, that Lone Shadow enemy can give you 3 different kinds of RNG. Grapple. 3 different kinds of RNG, and I've received the one that is annoying to deal with, but fortunately I solved it. So next mini boss, Gun Lady, Snake Eyes Gun Lady. Also one of the most annoying mini bosses in the game. I guess everyone suffered with this mini boss on their first playthroughs. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna push her in the corner and just keep that angling her. The only problem is this hyper poise grab attack that I have to deflect. Okay, that's unfortunate. Okay, I made it look a little bit scarier than it usually is, but fortunately I'm alive. Yeah, I messed up a little. I missed one of my hits and she instantly punished me. Fortunately, I have enough health to survive just one attack. One that attack that can punish you annoyingly in this fight. So yeah, you just push her in the corner like you do with the Lone Shadow. But the problem is she has a hyper poise attack that you have to deflect that grab. Actually, it's quite not obvious that you can deflect the grab attack, but fortunately you can. And now we're gonna do some buys. And for the buys, I'm gonna buy... Like, first of all, I'm gonna talk with one of the NPCs, that's Tanguishin. I must talk with him to push the main quest forward, to kill more bosses later on. And I will buy Firecracker, that's the third prosthetic tool that I'm gonna use, and the most important one because it's very OP. It allows you to stagger enemies very efficiently. We actually refuse the quest because it's faster, we don't need Ashina skill tree, and we're actually gonna get it later on. There, vendor sells the Firecracker. Buy the Firecracker. And yeah, warp to temple to apply all the prosthetic tools we acquired. Actually, it's a good time for some donations.
Alright, I'd like to use this opportunity to tell our viewers that the donations don't only go to a very good cause, but you can also win some prizes while donating. Our lovely sponsor Kaspersky got a Nintendo Switch for a minimum donation of $50. So if you donate more than $50 over the span of the marathon, you are in for the prize. And if you don't like a Nintendo Switch, there's also a ViewSonic Elite monitor by our sponsor ViewSonic, which you can get with a minimum donation of $30 throughout the marathon. Remember, all our donations go to Alzheimer's Fonden, the Swedish Alzheimer's Foundation, and will help people in need. Thank you.
Yeah, so I've talked with the sculptor, I've received all the prosthetic tools I've got, and with the prosthetic tools he gave me 2 skill books. The main skill book, like Shinobi skill book, and prosthetic skill book. It's very important, like, he gives you the Shinobi skill book after killing Yobu, and he gives you the prosthetic skill book after you kill... obtain 3 or more prosthetics. So that's very neat. and we're gonna fight one of the hardest mini-bosses in the game. I've performed some cool parkour that saved me a bunch of time instead of going around like you have to and climbing up the sort of a hill to get on that roof. Oh, got stuck. So that mini-boss is sort of continuing this illusion that does not allow you to go further. Fortunately, boss itself is just a joke. It's R1 spam. And that's it. So we get into Mibu village. Like before, on the way, I picked up a little bit of items. I picked up the Yashuriko sugars, the most powerful sugars that we're gonna abuse a lot in this speedrun. And I picked up some snap seeds, and you will see what did I pick them up for. Because I picked up them for the next boss. I'm gonna take this idol. Like, we're actually gonna do some backtracking later on. This game has the world state mechanic when after certain events, certain bosses will disappear, so we'll make sure that we don't miss any boss. We will not make any boss to disappear from the world map, so sometimes we're gonna come back sooner, sometimes we're gonna come back later if it's possible. There we're gonna do a bit more looting, some fancy parkour inside the building. There are divine confettis, also very useful consumable, especially considering the fact that Headless and Shichiman warriors are included in this category. Some menuing. Have to mention that this version of the game I'm playing on the current patch has menu delays that are very annoying. Okay, so that was Corrupted Monk. And yeah, we can completely cheese out this boss like that. Fortunately, she has only one face, which is lovely. So how it works? This boss has a vision. Like, you can actually sneak past the boss without boss noticing you. And for some reason, using consumables also does not make boss aggro at you if you do it from a reasonable range. And we can utilize it, so we push the boss backwards while she keeps not noticing us, and then we jump from the rock right here and we perform an aerial death blow. Why this aerial death blow is left in the game, we don't know. It's just developers didn't bother fixing, well, not fixing it, it's just it's a leftover. Like, there is an actual boss, True Monk, that can be death blowed like that later on in the game, and most likely they just use the same like model or something, and they left the ability to perform an aerial death blow if boss doesn't notice you, which is very nice. Oh, I actually failed the skip. So, very important thing, why did I kill the boss first? I'm gonna try again. Why I killed this boss first out of 3? Because at the start of the game you have a choice where to go. You have to obtain 3 key items, and these 3 key items change the world states to the further one and allow you to progress the game. No! I messed up. Okay, now we're gonna witness falling into the abyss and slowly dying. You can't quit out while falling, like I can open the menu, so we're gonna die here miserably. So I have time to talk a little, at least. So we kill that boss because that boss allows us, like after killing Corrupted Monk, you obtain the ability to dive in the water, because before that you can swim, but you can dive under the water. And diving is the important part of the glitch called air swim. We are not gonna heavily utilize it in this speedrun. Like, for example, the skip that I'm trying to do saves 5 seconds. Like 5 to 7 seconds if it's done optimally. So it's not much, but still air swim has a good use in the run. Okay, this time I'm gonna be more careful. Nice. So how does it work? air swim works this way that you dive in the out of bounds water, and for some reason games gives you unlimited possibility to just swim wherever you want. There are certain restrictions while you are swimming and where you can swim and how, but fortunately you can cancel air swim in certain ways, like for example with playing the cutscene like I do there for Genichiro. Also we're gonna use the cheese like I did with Gun Lady and Lone Shadow now for Genichiro. It's the same principle, again, like I attack with the angle when boss can't block my attacks, because that's how the game is made. I attack with the an insane angle. So yeah, fortunately air swim can be cancelled pretty easily. Well, sorry, not pretty easily, but it can be cancelled. In this category, again, as I mentioned, it's not that heavily utilized in something like any percent, but we're still gonna get certain benefits from it. This speedrun. So we're using the Yashuriko sugar in this fight. Ooh, perfect RNG, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Well, I failed skip twice, miserably, but at least Genichiro was nice. Getting the double lightning is pretty rare, and it's obviously the best he can do, because lightning gives a lot of damage. Like, all the lightnings... Well, maybe not all the lightnings in the game, but there is a mechanic called lightning reversal. Like, if you jump when an enemy performs a lightning attack at you, if it hits you mid-air, you can actually throw it back while you're still in the air, which is very neat. So there we talk with Kuro, Resident Sleeper section. Like, we have to advance the main quest, and we actually must do that before obtaining Mortal Blade. Because if you obtain Mortal Blade before talking with the Ishin about Mortal Blade, it's gonna softlock the game. And softlocking the game isn't very good. I guess one of the things I can mention, like I've used the Genichiro Remnant, as you can see in the corner, it's the memories. From beating the main bosses of the game, well, any bosses, the way how we at least define them, they give you the attack upgrades that you can apply and start dealing more damage. So this is pretty neat. That's overall how the damage mechanics work in this game, because this game, unlike Souls games, has very little of RPG elements, pretty much none of them. So we talk with the Ishin, warp away to the last communed idol, and we're gonna pick up the key that is gonna spawn after reloading the area. Well, actually I guess it spawns without even reloading the area as soon as you finish the dialogue with the Ishin. This area updates slightly. And now we are gonna go and obtain the second out of the 3 key items we have to obtain. We obtained one after Corrupted Monk, and the other one is actually Immortal Blades that I've mentioned recently. So we're gonna do the same jump again. Yep, but this time we're gonna air swim another direction. This time we're actually gonna air swim, and what is important in this air swim, we actually need to be careful a bit more, because we can die, potentially. So better don't. It's important to dive there to load the further part of the area, because otherwise you will not get anything. And there I'm gonna quit out. Why do I quit out? I quit out to load the further area. Like with the air swim, it's very weird. If you air swim in the next loaded area, it's gonna automatically kill you. Like, you're just gonna die instantly. So to avoid that, you have to quit out not too close to the next area, because otherwise you will just receive the black screen, but not too far away from the next area so it loads in properly and removes this absurd kill boxes to continue moving where you need to. So there we're gonna cancel the air swim the second possible way, and the second way is actually finding the little piece of out of bounds water. Like, water isn't made perfectly, right? So sometimes when you hug the walls in different ponds or like rivers or any other like basins in the game, you can find a little piece where you can actually cancel out the air swim by hugging the wall real hard, because game just thinks that there is a little bit of out of bounds water or something, because that's the other way how you can cancel the air swim, either cutscene or another out of bounds water. Oops. So next bosses are the monkeys. Monkeys are gimmick boss. Like, there is gonna be no actual fighting, really. We just use the Gachin sugar, the one that makes us barely visible and completely silent, and that sugar is super OP against monkeys. Like, there are 4 monkeys in the boss fight. One of them is invisible and pursues you whenever you go, wherever you go. The other one has a good hearing, the other one has a good sight, and the other one is just walking around casually with the gong. And Gachin sugar basically counters 3 of them. So invisible monkey is always at the same spot at the start of the fight. This one is always going the same way. This one has a good hearing. We use Firecracker to make sure that that monkey doesn't jump away. And Firecracker deals enough posture damage to break the posture. Oh my god, this is unfortunate. Got it. Okay, that was scary. So I was just about to perform the death blow on a monkey, and one of the enemies randomly cancelled my animation, which was unfortunate. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens, so I have to be careful. Fortunately, backup worked. I was quick enough to use Firecracker. That was neat, that we didn't end up chasing that monkey for a minute. So we receive Mortal Blades. And Mortal Blades is very, 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 very important item for the speedrun. Why? Because it gives you the ability that is called Mortal Draw, and the ability Mortal Draw is insanely OP. Especially on the current patch. I'm playing on current patch. Some of you might, like, some people that actually have seen the speedruns of the Sekiro might ask why I fought monkeys properly. It's because on current patch the outer bound skip to monkeys is patched, and it actually saved a little bit of time. But the current patch has a much stronger Mortal Draw, and for all bosses it means everything. And that's why. So we're gonna deal insane amount of damage to bosses by using Mortal Draw. You can also notice that I jump. Just before that part of the game I learned the skill that is called Mid-Air Combat. And for some unknown reason, mid-air combat increases the damage of the first Mortal Draw swing a lot if you perform it while jumping. There is the most fancy death blow in the game, in my opinion. Even textures do not load properly when you death blow the samurai like that. And this is where we start utilizing Mortal Draw and Firecracker combo. And there we're also gonna utilize the quit out mechanic. That's the only place where we use it in this run, I guess. Well, actually not the only place, but one of the few places where it's actually worth it. So the way how game stores your positioning is that game stores your last position before you were noticed by anyone. And when you perform the death blow on a samurai from the roof, while you are performing a death blow, the game doesn't update your last position. So enemies notice you, last store position is on the roof, you finish the enemy that you need, you receive the emblems, which is very important. Like all the mini bosses drop 15 emblems, but you have to wait until they actually fly into your character. So you can just immediately quit out as soon as you finish the mini boss. And after that you can safely quit out, and you're just gonna spawn on top. It actually doesn't save too much time, because if you just warp away, you end up being on the good idol, but still looks fancy. Like fancy death blow on the samurai and fancy quit out warp from the samurai. And we get into quite a meme area, I guess, Gun Fort. Quite a meme because it's an area of like 100,000 snipers that shoot at you, but before we're gonna actually reach that part of the area, we have to fight one of the mini bosses. Okay, that's good. So there is quite a tricky death blow setup. Like, as you could notice, she didn't notice me. And the only reason why she didn't notice me is because I managed to buffer my crouching inputs perfectly. So I make sure that I sit down as soon as I can by buffering the inputs. Otherwise it's not gonna work, and she's gonna notice you. Even if you make like a very slight delay on your crouching, it's still not gonna work. Only if input is buffered it works like that. And then she is being cautious because one of the snipers shooting around, and you can perform a death blow while sneaking. And again we utilize the mortal draw in that fight a lot. Okay, fortunately we came through the whole area without getting a single shot, which is nice. You can actually die there randomly and nothing you can do sometimes, but fortunately that's not the case. Longar Centipede Giraffe, very cool boss, as you can see. Very difficult. So yeah, that's the power of the mortal draw, jumping attack, and Yashuriku Sugar. And the next boss is Guardian Ape. We're gonna pick up some items in the lake that we need. For the further, I also gonna pick up the item that you usually don't pick up on a serious speedrun. I'm gonna pick up the money to just make sure that I have enough, because I need enough money for certain stuff, but just a little bit, fortunately. I guess it's a good time for donations.
Alright, we have a $20 donation from Mama Souls saying, Dan is cute, ah yeah.
Ah yeah, thank you so much, Mama.
And we have a $50 donation from Anonymous saying, concerned dog. Thank you very much for the whopping $50. We also have another $55 donation from Len Tocone saying, desperately trying to stay awake to see this Sekiro run, as well as the Nier Automata run coming after. Good luck with the run, and let's see that risky coaster skip happen. This is one of the bid war incentives for Nier Automata, but please keep in mind that we also have a bid war going on for this run of Sekiro. You guys can choose the ending, and the choices are Purification, which is currently in lead with $70, and Immortal Severance, which is behind with $1777. So keep those donations in to tilt the scale. Thank you.
So that was the first phase of Guardian Ape fight. It was easy to miss. So Guardian Ape as an animal receives some extra stagger and posture damage from Firecracker that we utilize here as well to stagger him and never let him go away from the stagger. Phase 2 is very consistent because we have enough damage and we have a spear. It's Spear is very powerful against phase 2 because we can use it like that. And that deals a lot of damage to the boss. And yeah, fight is over. Actually, Guardian Ape is one of the most consistent fights in the whole run. Because phase 1 is 100% consistent, it can be done a bit faster or slower, depends on how many headshots you get, because headshots deal more damage to the posture. And we obtain the last item, and after we obtain the last item, game automatically sets the last idol to the abandoned dungeon entrance idol. So there I worked to the last communed idol, and it's actually gonna warp me to an idol that I never took, because game automatically takes it for me. Which is very nice. So yeah, we have obtained the main 3 items. Now world state has changed for the first time. Now Ashina is invaded. But it's not gonna stop us from killing enemies around. And we're gonna kill the 7 spears quickly. Actually, this is also one of the toughest mini-bosses, I guess, casually. Like the 7 spear mini-bosses. Because these guys have a quite a difficult moveset to read. But as you can see, boss just can't do anything. Boss just can't resist power of Mortal Draw and Firecracker spam. So most of the mini bosses get staggered from using Firecracker infinitely, but some of them actually do get the resistance from the Firecracker stagger for a bit, like Drunkards, but it's like a very few of the mini bosses, fortunately. And there we're gonna perform the air swim again. It's the same air swim that I used to Genichiro, and because Owl has respawns on the top of the roof of Ashina Castle, there is another cutscene there that will allow me to cancel it as soon as I enter it. Unfortunately, if I die there somehow, I will not be able to air swim again, because there will be no cutscene and so we choose the right dialogue option, use confetti to maximize damage and bait him into the corner. Very nice. Yeah, that was one of the RNGs I don't really like. He can do like quite many, like 4 different attacks at the start. That was one of the few that I like the least. So very nice that it worked out so well. So yeah, Sekiro developers reused some boss arenas. As you can see, it's very nice that they did, because both Genichiro and Owl get completely wrecked in this boss fight arena, even though in different corners, but very nice either way. Actually, before this cheese was found, there was a much simpler version of the cheese that wasn't really about cornering, but mostly was about avoiding his attacks and just dead angling him afterwards. And it worked like super consistently. So that fight wouldn't be much different, even if it would be in a different arena. Like, boss still would be quite a joke. And now we have to talk a lot. Like, that's, I guess, the most boring part of the run, because we have to talk to progress the main quest. And not only the main quest, we also have to do the Purification Ending path to be able to get the access to Hirata memory for the second time. And for that, we will need to do some extra dialogues on top of regular dialogues that we have to deal with. I guess we can go for some donations or information about something while dialogues are happening.
With pleasure. We have a $10 donation from Ahadi saying, "Blue guy eat a danflesh." And
Really
we also
concerned.
have a $50 donation from Rod G saying, "I'm so glad to see Dan in ESA. He's a real speedrunner. Let's get Q's doing coaster skip." Thank you very much for your donations.
Thank you so much, Rod. Yeah, so after we talk there, we actually have to talk even more. Like as I mentioned, this is like the most boring parts of the run. I also did quit out there. It's slower RTA, like real time. Like we do that in this speedrun category, but for the marathon it's a bit slower, but I'm just used to it. So first of all, we have to do eavesdrops here. That's crucial. Now we have to talk with Emma twice, then talk with Emma again, then talk with Emma again in Temple, and it's gonna be over. But before talking with Emma in Temple, we're actually gonna fight some bosses, which is very cool. And the next segment coming up in the run is the most difficult part of the speedrun, in my opinion. It's the most RNG heavy part and the most execution heavy part, because it includes Headless fights, it includes True Monk Phase 1 skip that I'm gonna mention further, and it includes Dragon, that is a run killer, because that boss is just pure RNG to a degree. And actually I've lost lots and lots of the runs in just next like 20-minute segment, because it's very punishing. It's very punishing part of the run. So we have to talk with the Emma on a graveyard, right? And that position on a graveyard is very convenient to kill certain bosses. So we're gonna go from there and kill them. Forehead. Yep, talked with Emma. Now it's time to kill the bosses. So I'm using confetti there because we're gonna fight Headless, and you do not deal pretty much any damage to Headless without using confetti. It's just how it is. So this is an underwater one. Underwater Headless are very simple to fight. They have like very little overattacks, and they have a very cool grab attack that you can just strafe like that. And yeah, that's the whole boss fight. The only difficult part about Headless fight is the opener, because he can do like 2 different attacks at the beginning of the fight, and the opener he gave me there is very chill, but the other one is a bit difficult to deal with. Like you have to do very certain pathing to avoid the first hit and sometimes deflect the follow-up. And if you deflect the follow-up, it puts the fight in a bit weird state when you have to be careful on your last hit as well to not trade with the Headless. So yeah, there is a little bit of depth to this fight. So there is a Lone Shadow, and there is a very cool strat with using Spear. So this Lone Shadow has a sugar that he's using, and that's the Yashuriko sugar. And that sugar deals damage, posture damage, to the Lone Shadow himself. And he always goes for that sugar use after you use Spear at the start of the fight. And that allows you to just melt this guy super easily. And it's very lucky that it's like that, because otherwise, like, there are a lot of dogs in the front of the arena that might aggro sometimes randomly, and also the whole arena is just very bad to fight with the boss. It has so many like small meshes, walls, and other stuff that is just annoying to deal with. Okay, now actually the hardest fight in the whole run, I'm not kidding. and quite RNG heavy, to a degree at least. Okay, some not very good RNG right there. Or actually, quite good in the end, I guess. Okay, that was smooth, damageless, very cool. So why this fight is the hardest? This is the toughest of the ground Headless. There are 3 ground Headless in a game, and this one has the most HP, and you fight him the first one. So he's just like, Headless is a very difficult fight to master, because there are certain cases when you have to adjust timing for the same attacks depending on how Headless is standing, where you are standing, and certain attacks are just clearly like undeflectable because of your positioning and his positioning. So it takes a lot of experience to be able to fight this boss consistently, and what matters even more, fast and consistently. So yeah, I'm glad that I nailed the hardest fight in a run, I suppose. And now the hardest trick in the run, sort of. Actually not as hard as it used to be. It's a True Monk Phase 1 skip. True Monk Phase 1 skip used to be super easy in old patch, like on the PC release patch. But they patched it. Not fully though. So there is still a 4 frames window before True Monk is activated. She's still standing there AFK, absolutely invulnerable. But for some reason you can still perform a death blow, and I'm actually gonna use the mouse wheel for that. And the setup is very precise, so let's hope I'm not gonna fail this. Yep, nice. So what happens there is a boss. Like, she's clearly standing there and she activates as soon as you hit the trigger. But if you perform an input in a 4 frames window before activating her, you can perform a death blow on the invulnerable enemy, which is super neat. And the fact that you can do that is very cool, because you can save the spirit emblems for the last phase of the fight and have a very fast phase 3 on top of that, which is very neat. But yeah, this skip saves around like 25 seconds, 25 to 30, depends on how first phase goes normally, and also it kinda helps with the sugar management, so it saves a little bit more than that, including that part. So now we're gonna do some pathing that is called as lightning skip. So there is a mini boss that is throwing lightning bolts at you and does not allow you to progress through this area without, like, before killing the boss. But with the certain pathing and certain actions you can go past it. And there is a carp swinging around that you can avoid as well with certain pathing. Like, there is no RNG involved at all in this section, so it's very simple to go through this area. So here we're gonna take the idol and we're gonna clear the Fountain Head Palace area first. Not fully though, we're gonna leave the Shichiman Warrior here for the very late game. But we're gonna clear the rest of the bosses from this area. So I wanted to mention something, but I forgot. Feels good, man. So yeah, next mini boss, like this lightning ball girl, is also quite a joke. It's the same as... It's similar to... Oh my god, I don't remember how enemy is called. She's similar to an enemy in Mibu Forest, Miss Noble, that she like doesn't allow you to progress Oh my god, that's bad. Okay, let's hope this is gonna be smooth. Okay, that was unfortunate. That's the opening I was talking about. Like, I messed up a little. I turned out like to be too far to the left. So if you stay right in front of the Headless in a certain place, he completely misses the first hits. Like, the hitbox is not in front of him, like the sword hitbox. So if you hack him quick enough with the right positioning, hit completely whiffs. Okay, very good boss fight as well. Use Firecracker, hit once. There goes the fight. Boss aggroes, hits the wall. Easy, clean victory. We actually, I guess nobody knows why this worked like that. You can kill the same way the Blazing Bull at the start of the game, but it's just slow and requires you to do the bull skip. How it works is that if you use Firecracker on the bull before bull notices you, for some reason bull always goes for this attack. And this attack is just like, if bull hits the wall while performing this attack, it's an insta-kill. Well, not an insta-kill, it's a posture break. When you can death blow the boss afterwards. So, from killing Headless, I've received the Yashuriku Spiritfall Sugar. And with that we come back to the very early game, because this mini boss will disappear as soon as I will kill Dragon. And we don't want that. And since we have to come back for this boss, we also gonna kill the second ground Headless. The Akko Sugar Headless. Also annoying fight, mostly because of the arena. I would say a bit more RNG dependent than Gokhan Headless, the one I fought in before that I mentioned as the hardest fight in the whole run. This one has more RNG and less common sense to a degree because of the arena. But let's hope things go well. So that Yashuriku Sugar is basically an infinite sugar, infinite buff, but it uses my spirit emblems, which is not gonna be good for certain cases. That's why we're still gonna use actual sugars sometimes. Okay, this goes fine. Nice. Also clean execution right there. Casually floating in the air. Very cool meshes. We're not gonna use that Spiritfall Sugar that we received from this Headless. Actually, the only useful Spiritfall Sugar that we're gonna use is the Yashuriku. Like, we're gonna have enough Gachin Sugars for everything we need, so even the Gachin Sugar is not gonna be useful. So the next boss is the Dragon, and Dragon is the most RNG boss in the game. And the reason for that is that boss consists of two phases. In the first phase you have to kill white dragons. You have to kill a certain amount of them. And sometimes the white dragons just decide to stop respawning and you lose time. Easy as that. And in the second phase, with the current strats, you have to get a certain attacks to not lose time in a dragon fight, because we're gonna use Mortal Draw on the dragon's body, and that requires dragon to cooperate a little so we can reach him with the hitbox. Okay, that's actually gonna be potentially not very good. So you can death blow this, like if you death blow this white dragons in the air, you perform a super wide attack. Yeah, okay, that was fine. That was a decent phase 1. Like as soon as you can kill every white dragon before the first 3 disappears, it's fine. Okay, so let's bless RNG. And we get the bad RNG. Have lost in coin tossing. Okay, that's gonna be a bit unfortunate because now dragon gonna scream. Actually, that's a good lightning. I made it. Nice. Okay, a bit lucky in being unlucky. So usually this fight is 2 lightnings. If dragon would give me, instead of the horizontal attack that you can't punish, would give me the dive attack that you can punish, I would deal more damage with my mortal draw because this fight is fully health based. And by dealing that damage, I would be able to skip using one of the lightnings. And lightnings spawn on a timer. And the worst thing about lightnings is that they do like to overlap. Like if lightning decides to spawn on literally the same... Actually, that's quite bad that I haven't died there. Not a big deal, I guess. I kind of forgot to die there. Because still, this run is still... Well, it's not deathless, but... Thing is that I haven't died a single time after... I haven't died a single time when I could resurrect. And the best time to do so, if you have a deathless run, is on dragon, because you're not gonna lose any time and it's comfortable to die there. Like that. Let's just hope we're not gonna die in a bad place. The reason why it's bad is the first time when you die and after which death you can resurrect is that there is gonna be a cutscene that has to play. And while that cutscene is happening, the enemy you were fighting most likely will regen some posture or something and gonna mess up the whole strategy you had because you can't resurrect immediately and finish the enemy. Unfortunately, so that's kind of bad. Okay, so there we're gonna have some sick old strats. And this strat is also RNG. That's why I mentioned before that 20 minutes, like the next 20 minutes of the run are the most annoying 20 minutes of the run because it's a lot of RNG and a lot of hard stuff to deal with. So there is a drone card, and this drone card is very annoying. First of all, he has an armor. Second of all, there is 1,000 enemies around. That was like super unlucky to get hit there like that. And most likely... Dude, are you fine? I have a feel that this is not gonna work at all in my favor. Yeah, okay, we just postpone this boss for now. Like that would be a rip run. Like clearly that would be a killed run because of RNG. And there would be nothing I could do about it. Absolutely. So the way how you kill the second... Nice. Okay, I guess we might accidentally die in the next part of the run with this RNG. So the thing is, you death blow the first phase, you bait the drawn cards to the explosive box, and the enemies actually, like the range enemies, they are made this way that they start shooting at the explosive box when you're nearby, and you can use that explosive box to You can use that explosive box to deal posture damage to the drawn cards, and that damage is just enough to kill the second phase. Okay, so Demon of Hatred gonna be killed the same way as Gyobu. We'll bait him in this part of the arena, make sure that he's stuck. Use the same tower that we used for Gyobu. Thanks From Software for using boss fight arenas. Very kind of you. Dang, we actually haven't seen how boss died, because he died too quick. But he just walked off like Gyobu and fell into the kill box and died. And that's the longest boss fight in a game. Like, it's a 3-phase boss with tons of HP. That is like super annoying to deal with. Like, there are actually cool strats to fight this boss in glitchless runs where this glitch is not allowed because it's glitchless. But here it's a little bit of RNG, but nice and clean. And now we mostly gonna just clear the areas that are left in the game. Like, we have an access to the last boss of the game. Kinda. So that's the Guardian Ape. Again. There is a nice sick quick kill for this boss. And there is one important detail about this fight. So after you kill this Headless Ape, in this arena spawns the Shichimen Warrior. And to make him spawn, you must Immortal Severance the boss. It's one of the requirements, even though we're not gonna use the ability that you get by doing so, but it's still required because we have to fight the mini boss that spawns. And there is also another detail, like, I would never imagine that it works like that, but when I was routing at first, like, I will talk about it in a second. So there is another Headless, the last Headless we're gonna fight, last out of 5. This one is the easiest one, because we have a lot of damage. And arena is good enough. Yep, all Headless fights were super smooth in this run. And we have the one of the few mini bosses left. Oh no, failed some parkour. It's this drawn card. He is also sort of an early game enemy. So there are monkeys around, but since monkeys are kind of baited at you when you kill the gunner monkey, they all end up being on one side. And you just make sure that all your mortal draw swings and your firecrackers are attacking from that side. That almost guarantees you that none of the monkeys will deal any damage to you. And if monkeys stay alive after the fights, the best thing is to quit out and just warp away, because otherwise monkeys will just cancel warping animation takes ages. So that's what I was talking about. We're gonna apply Finger Whistle. We actually gonna use it for a good purpose. There is a very cool strat in Hirata 2 that was found by some Japanese runner. which is like 300 AQ strat, but the main purpose of actually getting the finger whistle is that if you do not acquire finger whistle as the prosthetic, not only just the materials to get it, right? You get the materials to acquire finger prosthetic after killing Guardian Ape. It's like a necessary boss to kill. But if you don't have a finger prosthetic as an equipable prosthetic, Shichimen in the area where I killed the Headless Ape just not gonna spawn. And that confused me a lot when I was routing the game routing the category for the first time. I just was not able to figure out what is required to like spawn the Shichimen, and fortunately the fifth Matt, one of the modders of the Sekiro, like the person who made like randomizer mod, helped me, because he actually told me that you must acquire that finger whistle. It's one of the flags. That's some sick From Software coding, and one of the things that I never would think of, because that possibly mostly could happen only in a speedrun, because casually you would definitely made a prosthetic of the item you get from Guardian Ape pretty soon, definitely before you fight the Headless Ape in that cave, I'm pretty sure. So there we talked with Al, we are in the memory, I air swim to some mini boss that is a joke. Like, this area is super early game. As you could see, that boss just died like without any buffs, without anything, just from one swing of the jump mortal draw. And we received the key. Key is needed to open the path to the bosses. So there is another weird death blow. This death blow is similar to the one that we use at the very first Ogre at the start of the game, because it doesn't seem like you can death blow the boss, but you actually can. So he's just sitting there. You're gonna replace the sugar with the one you need. You can have more than one sugar working at the same time. And yeah, this boss also dies in 3 swings, which is very nice. So yeah, you can have more than one sugar used at once. So that's one of the few places where you have to replace your Gachin sugar that allows you to stealth and sneak past the enemy with the damage sugar right before death blowing. So you have that small window when you can still stay in the stealth and apply the sugar. Okay, that's a bit of an RNG that I don't like to deal with. Why did you... oh my god. Okay, this is pathetic. Yeah, I messed up a very cool quick kill, but it's fine. This is fine. Oh my god. So yeah, I've received the RNG when... that's not an RNG, that's sort of a glitch. That's a marathon luck right there. So we have to wait while she decides to fall down and while these enemies decide to disappear, because fighting her while enemies are alive, kinda pointless, it's too dangerous. So yeah, after she snaps, that's a shame, because this boss fight is super consistent unless this happens, obviously. Yeah, this is very rare. Most likely it also has something to do with my regular positioning, because it happens quite consistently for me, like not the first time when it happens for me. I don't think it happens too often for the other runners. So maybe I just need to stop staying where I stay in between phases. But how this fight normally should look like: at the start you throw Firecracker, you do 2 mortal draw swings, boss is almost dead. Second phase, you do 1 swing, then another swing, and boss is dead. Like literally just 2 swings, and it's 100% consistent. Unfortunately there 1% meme happened when she decided to cast, like she kinda aggroes before falling down, and as I mentioned, maybe it has something to do with my positioning in the end, but I don't know. So first Shichimen Warrior to fight. These guys are actually very chill. And what is cool about them, they're 100% consistent, because you can manipulate their spawns. Like, depends on where you stay in the arena, they always will teleport the same location. So you always manipulate them to warp where you need them, and you kill them in no hits. As you can see, I deal just a ton of damage. The reason why I kill this Shechiman now and not later, because I could kill him as late as I could, as I wanted, is to receive Tanto. Because Tanto is the item that allows you to sacrifice your health to get 5 extra emblems. And this extra emblem is gonna be very useful in Ishin fights and in the whole Hirata 2 segment that comes next. Oops, overspam the button. So yeah, this area is quite spooky. First boss is Lone Shadow. Have a very nice reliable strat that makes this boss very consistent. Yep. Super clean. And there we're gonna use the pallet that we received from a tutorial boss at the very beginning to heal some health and be able to use the Tanto an extra time in this area. Unfortunately, you can't stack Tanto, like you must use it like you can use it only once to get 5 emblems at a time. I messed up. I'm just gonna warp away. Yeah, so I messed up there. Unfortunately, like I stopped locking on before my finger whistle worked. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like I stopped locking on before my finger whistle worked, so it didn't work. I actually lost one of the runs like that already. Fortunately, I have enough of the everything for this part, which is neat. Enough of the resources. To do the strat still. Okay, this time keep locked on. So yeah, this is a very cool quick kill strat, and it saves quite a bunch of time in comparison with what we used to do. And I don't know why I attacked this guy actually. I have no clue. And the main reason why it saves time is because we must acquire that finger whistle. We just must do it because we need to fight one of the Shichimen warriors. So it's pretty cool that this strat is like all bosses special. Owl 2 abused really. Oh my god, what are you doing? Okay. He just decided to not jump away. Okay, this is super weird. This is super weird. Okay, this fight usually is quite a joke. Because you just spam Mortal Draw. But this time I'll decided just do something that again never happens. Like at the start, by performing certain actions, you can force him to always do the same attack as the opener. And you can punish that attack real hard with the Mortal Draws. And that allows you to make first phase being like 100% consistent, pretty much. And the second phase is also very good, because at the transition between phases you deal damage with one swing, and then you deflect the attack from the owl form, and you do 2 more swings, and that puts him on a very low like posture health. I guess we have some little time for donation or two.
Great! Actually, I was just about to ask because I have some lined up. Firstly, I have a $25 donation from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you very much. And next up, I have a $10 donation from Niels V saying, "Thanks for the quality entertainment and helping the Alzheimer's Foundation. Thank you very much for your generous donation." Next up, I have a $25 donation from MA saying, "Good luck on the run then, and good luck to Kios on the risky coaster skip."
Thank you, I might.
And lastly, I have another $20 donation from Niels V saying, "I wanted to donate 20 previously, but accidentally typed 10, so here's another 20. Thank you, that's so generous." Remember, all the donations go to Alzheimer's Fonden, a very, very good cause, so please keep them coming.
So yeah, there has been like a bit of a boss fight, sort of. Ashina Elite, like he has nothing special to it, you just spam Mortal Draws. And that's it. This guy, you just kill his friends, then you quit out to lose the aggro. Death blow, 2 swings, dead. Next is the Ogre. All the way down there. We'll see how that one goes. And I have to ask about the bid war with the ending. How, like, what are the results? You can basically close it like in a minute.
We are closing the bid war right now, and I will tell you the results as soon as we gathered everything up.
Okay. So that was Ogre. This fight can be like a bit RNG-ish, because there are enemies that fight Ogre and they can bait him away from you, and sometimes the death blow markers appear for them instead of Ogre, and you can perform a death blow on the already dead Red Swordsman that just gonna waste you time. So it's pretty annoying to deal with, but this time RNG was on my side. He was just calm, staying here, having a nice day, being staggered. Okay, now
the results. Oh, sorry. The results for the bid war are in Purification 1.
Okay, nice. One of the most spookiest fights. I guess everyone who played casually knows that this fight is big AIDS. Have a nice reliable strat that works if I don't fail it, which is pretty convenient. But yeah, he dies in only 3 swings, fortunately, and you can make it very consistent that the samurai near with the spearman doesn't perform a single attack on you. Oh, I didn't use the Tanto. I want to use the Tanto, so I'm gonna rest. Like usually, with the Tanto, it works this way that it cuts the half of your health from your current health. So if you have a Yashuriku Sugar applied that reduces your max health by 50%, you can use Tanto with only 50% of your max health. Max health. Which is very cool. But I forgot to do that. Because Tanto is actually helpful in these fights. For the Ishin part. Having some extra spirit emblems to make your mortal draw stronger. As I mentioned it throughout the run, but you can still use mortal draw even if you have not enough emblems to do it, but it deals significantly less damage that way. So each swing requires 3 emblems. Oh my god, I messed up. Yeah, if I would deflect that, that would be nice. It's like perfect when Ishin decides to do the jump away. Just one attack after. Like as you can see, we deal insane amount of damage with our mortal draws to Ishin. He's just dead in 2 lightnings in phase 3. Lightnings give you a very good possibility to punish it. And in phase 2, as I mentioned, like it's very nice if Ishin performs just a single attack before he jumps away, because the jump away is the attack you can punish with the Mortal Blade consistently. And if he does it that way, you're just gonna posture break him on the Mortal Draw swing, which makes fight super nice, convenient. Okay, so the ending. You've chosen the Purification Ending, so we're gonna watch a cutscene. I'm gonna give Dragon Tears and Ever Blossom that we received by killing Altsu.
おそばにおります。竜の涙。最後の不死を成敗いたす。人として生きてくだされ。
行かれるのですね。はい。私も人として懸命に生き、そして死のうと思います。我が忍びがそうしてくれたように。エマ殿にも お世話になりました。
So that was the Purification Ending, but of course we have no time to be buried in the earth. We have to kill mini bosses, so we're quickly escaping that comfy earth and go kill bosses, the rest of them at least. I actually almost forgot that we've skipped the drunkard, the fire drunkard guy, because of the RNG. Again, that RNG would actually kill the run, the real run. So it's quite a shame that it happened like that. But it should be fine now. I actually don't have a spear equipped now. So yeah. The way how you kill him is, again, that guy has an armor. The drunkard has an armor on him. And by using spear twice, not only you remove the armor and make him vulnerable to attacks a bit better, but also you deal significant amount of posture damage to him by removing his armor. And that's combined with the explosive box. Deals just almost enough posture damage to kill him fully. Okay, attempt number 2. Okay, that's how it should look like, instead of killing me. Bait him there, use the spear second time, use firecracker, explosion, 1 empty swing, he's dead. Easy as that. And just we warp away, but normally after that you would go and kill Demon of Hatred. Oh my god, he... Okay, that's okay. I didn't expect that they can get me there. Okay, so now the rest of the bosses. We're gonna come back to Senpu Temple, to Mibu Village, and to Fountainhead Palace for some fights. There is Roberto that we skipped by air swimming past him. This is like 100% consistent way of dealing with him. Like we deal a ton of damage to him. Rip him. So I'm gonna perform the strat that usually we use in the speedrun. Like before he actually, before the fog gate of the boss fight disappears, like boss dies before that. So you can quit out and respawn outside of the arena and still receive the victory with the items, which saves a little bit of time. Obviously real time, again, it's not gonna save anything, but that's an actual speedrun strat that we use. It saves a couple seconds. And there is also a centipede in this tower waiting for us. This one is very annoying to deal with casually, but it just dies in 2 swings. And then we jump away. Some people prefer to stay on the ground with certain positioning, but I just jump away, personally. And just warp away. So next we're gonna go kill Orin. I guess Orin is the scariest boss after Ishin. Not joking, because she has invulnerability form that is just stupid. And it messes up a lot attacking her with the mortal draws, unfortunately. So that's kinda annoying. So I guess we can go for some donations. Quickly mention that in PC release patch you were able to deathblow her, and that is fixed in this game version.
Alright, we have a $10 donation from Anonymous with no comment, but thanks still for donating. And I wanted to remind you that all the donations go to Alzheimer Fund, the Swedish Alzheimer national fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer disease and other dementia-related diseases. Actually, the World Health Organization classifies dementia as one of the world's greatest health problems. Just over 47 million people are affected. It is estimated that the number of dementia diseases in the world will have tripled up to 2050. So it's a very good cause to donate and get this in check. Thanks very much for your donation.
Yeah, so that Orin fight was not very smooth, like, she avoided both of my second swings. That's what I mentioned when I said that her invulnerability form is a bit stupid. And that would be quite a time loss, but it's not a big deal there. So this is second out of 3 Shichimen warriors. We're gonna kill him pretty much the same way as we killed the one in Abandoned Dungeon, except he will actually need 1 extra hit. 8 hits instead of 7. Then again we're gonna manipulate his spawn by going in this part of the arena. After he makes the last audible step, it means that he kinda started teleporting. He's not gonna change his position anymore. And we have only one mini-boss left, which is Fountainhead Palace Shichimen, that involves quite cool strats. Because you can actually deathblow Fountainhead Palace Shichimen, and it requires you to do a very specific actions. And it's only possible because of how, for some reason, the aggro of this boss works in this area. Like, there is no explanation why it works like that, but it just works. This pathing that I made here was completely on purpose. And after I quit out after this boss, timer stops. So here he teleports. This Shichimen teleports only in 2 positions, so it's like super easy to manipulate him to do the right thing. And receive the last item without time. So that was all bosses, mini bosses, almost 50 of them were killed in this speedrun. We had some bad RNG, we had some very bad RNG like Lady Butterfly, we had some good RNG, and that's all this game is about. When you have over 40 boss fights, there are definitely things that can go wrong. But yeah, that's the most recent category made by me. Like, also many people helped me with optimization and like actually making it a real category, the moderators team. And if you are interested in speedrunning Sekiro, you can check out the Sekiro speedrunning Discord. There are people that will help you to get into speedrunning if you are interested in doing so. And yeah, I guess that's it for the run. Thank you for ESA for providing a platform to support charity and showcase the cool speedruns. And I'm pleased to be right in between Speed Souls block and Near block, because I'm involved in all 3 communities, in Sekiro speedrunning, in Dark Souls Bloodborne speedrunning. Well, I don't speedrun Bloodborne, but Speed Souls includes Bloodborne. And I'm also a Nier Automata speedrunner. So I'm just a perfect relay person for this intersection. So yeah, good luck Kyo with his Nier Automata ending run. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye. Thank you for donating and supporting. See you guys next time.
Thank you very much, Dan, for this very, very entertaining run. And I'm gonna head off and leave you in the very capable hands of Wired Wiki for the next run. Thanks!